Okay, today we'll be solving the problem under Fisher's ideal index number. This will be asked for 14 marks. The question is like this. Calculate Fisher's ideal index number and show that how it satisfies both TRT and FRT. They've given you the data like this. They've given you the data of 2 years. One is 2015 and another one is 2016. With these 2 years, 15 becomes the base year and 16 becomes the current year. So under 2015, the price becomes P01 and the quantity becomes Q0. Sorry, this is P0 and this is Q0. Under 2016, price here will be P1 and quantity would be Q1. So the first step is identifying the Fisher's index number. The formula for this is P01 is equals to root sigma P1 Q0 divided by sigma P0 Q0 into sigma P1 Q1 divided by sigma P0 Q1 into 100. So now we have to first solve the columns, that is P1 Q0, P0 Q0, P1 Q1 and P0 Q1. So here the first column would be P1 into Q0. So 10 into 80, it is 800. 12 into 90, it is 1080. Next 20 into 256, it would be 5120. 24 into 420, it is 10,080. 32 into 550, it is 17,600. Similarly with the second column, P0 into Q0. So 8 into 80, it becomes 640. Next 10 into 90, it is 900. Next 16 into 256, it is 4096. 20 into 420, it is 8400. 25 into 550, it is 13,750. The third column is P1 into Q1. So 10 into 110, it is 1100. 12 into 108, it is 1296. Next 20 into 340, it is 6800. 24 into 456, it is 10944. Next 32 into 704, it is 22,528. The last column is P0 into Q1. So 8 into 110, it becomes 880. 10 into 108, it is 1080. 16 into 340, it is 5440. 20 into 456, it is 9120. 25 into 704, it is 17,600. You need to total up all these columns. The first column total would be 34,680. Second column is 27,786. Third is 42,668. Fourth is 34,120. After doing this tabulation, you need to derive these formula. Sigma P1 Q0 total is 34,680 divided by total of P0 Q0 is 27,786 into P1 Q1 total is 42,668 divided by P0 Q1 total is 34,120 into 100. So you need to divide these two values. If you divide, you get 1.248, and if you divide these two values, you will get 1.250 into 100. So 1.248 into 1.250, you get 1.56 into 100. The next step is you need to first find out the root for this 1.56. In your calculator, you will be having a symbol called as root. If you press that 1.56 and root, if you press, you will get the answer 1.24. At the last, you need to make into 100. You would be getting 124.89%. Now, the second step for 14 marks is identifying time reversal test. As I've already explained you the formula, it is P01 into P10 is equals to 1. You need to prove this value. I've written the formula together. P01 formula, I've written it here, and continuously into P10 I have written it here. As you all know, P10 it's just you are reversing the values. Wherever there is 1 you are writing it 0, wherever there is 0 you are writing it as 1. That's how you need to convert it. Now I am writing the values here. Sigma P1 Q0 total is 34,680 divided by P0 Q0 total is 27,786 into P1 Q1 total is 42,668 divided by P0 Q1 total is 34,120 into, again I need to continue with this. So P0 Q1 total is, it's here, P0 Q1 total is 34,120 divided by P1 Q1 total is 42,668 into P0 Q0 total is 27,786 divided by P1 Q0 total is 34,680. As I have explained you in the formula, wherever you have the same values in numerator and denominator, it should get cancelled. So in this 34,680 which is in numerator, you also find the same value in the denominator, it gets cancelled. 27,786, yes, you have it here, it gets cancelled. 42,668 you have at both end, so you are cancelling it. 34,120 in the denominator as well as numerator. So after cancelling all, the value which is remaining is root 1. So the root 1 P01 into P10, the root for 1 would obviously be 1, hence it is proved, the TRT is proved. The third step is factor reversal test, which stands for FRT. The formula for this is P01 into Q01 is equals to sigma P1 Q1 divided by sigma P0 Q0. I've written the formula of P01 first, it's a normal Fisher's formula, and the next continuation is Q01. Here wherever there is P you need to convert it to Q, and wherever there is Q you need to write it as P. I have just reversed the Q and P. See here it is sigma P1 Q0, I have written it sigma Q1 P0. So it's only the reversal of these alphabets. By reversing all those, I have written the formula here. Now I am writing the values. So P1 Q0 total would be 34,680 divided by P0 Q0 total is 27,786 into P1 Q1 total is 42,668 divided by P0 Q1 total is 34,120 into sigma Q1 P0. So Q1 P0, again it's the total of this column, so it's 34,120 divided by sigma Q0 P0. So Q0 P0 it's here, so 27,786 into Q1 P1 is this column, so 42,668 divided by Q0 P1, it's here Q0 P1, so the total would be 34,680. Now the same rule applies, wherever you find the same values in the numerator and denominator, it should get cancelled. 34,680 and 34,680 gets cancelled. 27,786 do you find in numerator? No. 42,668 we don't find it. 34,120, yes, it's here and it gets cancelled. So whichever is remaining you should write down. 42,668, write down the numerators as it is and denominator as it is. 27,786 into again 42,668 divided by 27,786. Since the same values are there in numerator and denominator, it doesn't cancel. For the purpose of simplification, I am writing it like this: 42,668 divided by 27,786 the whole square, because it's the same value. I am writing it like this. When you are writing to the power of 2 and the root, both means one and the same, so it gets cancelled. So what is remaining? Only 42,668 divided by 27,786. That is nothing but of, which is the total of 42,668? It is P1 Q1 divided by 27,786 is the total of P0 Q0. So it is P0 Q0. See, the formula here says P01 into Q01. You should get this as an answer. We have got it. At the last, you should give a conclusion. Hence, Fisher's ideal index number proves both TRT and FRT. I have written it here. It is proved, and again I have written it here. Okay, this is a full-fledged problem of 14 marks which will be asked in the exams. After seeing this video, in case if anybody has doubts, please WhatsApp me. I will be sending you the solution for it again. Thank you. Under index number chapter, we totally have two concepts. First one is TRT and FRT, that is under Fisher's ideal index number, which will be asked for 14 marks, and we have covered this topic. Now the second part of this chapter is consumer price index. So this will be asked for 6 marks. It is also denoted as CPI, which stands for consumer price index. It is also called as cost of living price index, and there are two methods of constructing this. First one is aggregate expenditure method. The formula for that is CPI is equals to sigma P1 Q0 divided by sigma P0 Q0 into 100. This is the first method. The second method is family budget method. The formula for this is CPI is equals to sigma PV divided by sigma V, or sigma PW divided by sigma W. So either of these formula can be used. See, let it be aggregate expenditure method or family budget method, the answer should be the same. That is the first note to be remembered. The second point here to remember is, in the question sometimes they will give you value directly, or that will also be called as weights sometimes, or they may even give you as expenses. So VWE is all one and the same here. So if it is asked as V, the formula becomes sigma PV divided by sigma V. If it is in W, the formula becomes sigma PW divided by sigma W. Or if they have given you the data as expenditure or expenses, the formula becomes sigma PE divided by sigma E. So here let's understand the formula derivation. P here is equals to, P is price, here stands for price of current year divided by price of base year into 100, that is P1 divided by P0 into 100. Now V here stands for P0 Q0. The data will be given P0 into Q0. Next is PV. How do you identify PV? This P into V, you get PV. Now let's understand with the first problem. See, the question is, construct the consumer price index under aggregate expenditure method and family budget method. So they've asked you to identify under both the method. The data which are given is, they've given you the items, they've given you the quantity Q not directly, it is also called as quintals here, which means again quantity. And they've given you P naught, P1, P0 because it's 2010 data, and this is P1 because it is 2011 data, and the values are given inside. So I've just written the formula of the first method, aggregate expenditure method. For this formula, see, CPI is equals to P1 divided by P0. So to know the total of these two, I have to first draw the table for P1 Q naught and P naught Q naught. So the data here it is given. For the first column, P1 into Q naught. So I have to multiply these two, then I will get these answer, that is 6 6 are 36, 8 6 are 48, 9 ones are 9, 10 6 are 60, 1.5 into 4 you get 6, 1 sorry yes, and 15 into 1 you get 15. So you need to do the total for this. Again the second column is P naught into Q naught. Q naught is given here and P naught is given. If you multiply these two columns you will get these values. If you total it you get 146.5. Now you need to derive the formula. CPI is equals to the total of P1 Q naught is 174, I've written it here, divided by the total of P naught Q naught, it is 146.5 into 100. If you do it, you will get the consumer price index is 118.77%. Now the same question is also asked to solve under family budget method. The formula for this is CPI is equals to sigma PV divided by sigma V. So how to calculate P? I already told you in this formula. P should be calculated by P1 divided by P naught into 100. So the same thing I have written here. The data of P1 which is given here and the divided by the data of P naught is given here. So into 100 I am getting these answers. The second column should be identifying V, that is value. So they say P naught into Q naught, if you do it you will get the answer. P naught is given here and Q naught is also given here. So if you multiply those two columns you are getting these values. The last column is multiplication of this column into this. So P into V, if you do it you are getting this value. You need to total these two columns. Now you have to derive the formula. See, the formula is CPI is equals to sigma PV. So PV total is 17,399.73 divided by sigma V. The total of this column is 146.5. I have written this. If you divide these two you are getting 118.76. So if you just cross check with the first method, aggregative method, and this method, the answer is one and the same. Okay, this is again a continued part of consumer price index. The fourth question is, see, the question is little different, that's all, but the method of solving is again the same. Let's understand the question first. An inquiry into the budget of middle class families in a city gave the following details. What changes in the cost of living figures of 2005 as compared to 2002? So in this question they are asking what is the changes in the cost of living in the year 2005 keeping 2002 as a base. And here the first point that you have to observe is which method to use. We have two methods, one is aggregative method and other one is family budget method. So here you should understand they are talking about middle class families, which is understood it is a family budget method. And the data which they have given is items, percentage expenses, prices of 2009 and prices of 2011. So 2009 prices becomes P0 and 2011 prices becomes P1. Here the expenses, as I told you in the previous video, expenses or the value means one and the same. In the question if they have given you the expenses or the value directly, then while solving the problem you have to just write down the items and you should identify P, because you know the formula of family budget. CPI is equals to sigma PV divided by sigma V. So how to identify P? P1 divided by P0 into 100. P1 they have given you divided by P0 is there into 100. If you make you will get these answer. And while identifying V, we were supposed to do P naught into Q naught, but here we are not doing it because in the question they have given us directly the values of V. So I'm just writing down those values, and the last column is obviously the multiplication of this P into V, PV, totaling it. And again you need to simplify the formula. It's just similar to the previous problems which we solved, and you will be getting the answer 102.75. So the conclusion for this is there is an increase of 2.75%, that is taking 100 as a base year percentage and this 102 as a current year percentage. The difference between these two would be 2.75. so there is an increase in 2.75 in the cost of living of 2005. This is actually 2005 when compared to 2002. So the next question is, see again here the question is, construct the CPI or cost of living index number by using family budget method from the following. They've directly told you it is a family budget method. They've given you the items, they've given you P naught, P1 and W. So here again, as I told you, let it be expenses, let it be value, or W, which means one and the same. So they have given us the W or V values directly. The family budget method formula is CPI is equals to sigma PW and sigma V. I told you in the previous video itself, if it's V, I was supposed to write as sigma PV divided by sigma V. If it's W, I'm writing it as W. And if it's E, you can either write it as E or you can again write it as V. So P, how to identify P? You all know P1 divided by P naught into 100, and W column I am not doing anything. They have given us the data as it is. I am copying it. The last column would be P into W column. If you multiply, you will get these answer. You need to total it and again derive it. The one important point that you have to observe in this is this, because most of the students does mistake with this expenses and weights, or W stands for weights, the column, because they have given you the direct answer. Though the students, what they will do is they will again identify V, they will do P naught into P1 and they will try to get some values which is actually wrong. Okay, because V is equals to, what would be the formula? P naught into Q naught. When they have not given you Q naught, how can you multiply it? So don't have to worry about it. Whenever they're giving you W, that is weights or expenses or values, which means the data is directly taken in the answer. And yes, see, even in this question, it's asked in 2017. They've given you W answers directly. So I am just identifying this again, a family budget method. How would you know it's a family budget method in this question? Because nowhere they've mentioned you. They've just asked calculate consumer price index from the following. You have to understand it when they have given you W. If it's for aggregate, they wouldn't have given you W. They should definitely give you P naught, P1 and Q naught. When they have not given you Q naught and when they have given you W directly, it is understood it is family budget method. So you are using that formula and again you are deriving it, you are getting the answer. That's all with this consumer price index concept. And here there is a 2019 question paper. They have asked consumer price index for 6 marks. See, this is a very easy problem. They have given you only the data of index and weight. So which means this is the direct answer of price. They've given you price, they've given you W. The last column should be PW column. You need to make total of these two and again you need to derive it. When they have given you W, I have told you it is family budget method. The formula for this is CPI is equals to sigma PW divided by sigma W. So I want you guys to solve all these problems. I'll be sending you the photos of these questions. In case if anybody has doubt, can contact me. Thank you. Hello guys, today we'll be starting with the last module of statistics, that is measures of dispersion and skewness. Dispersion will be asked for 6 marks and from skewness they will ask you one question for 14 marks. So this chapter alone will give you 22 marks in the question, 20 with this and 2 with the theory part. Now let's understand the meaning of dispersion. They say it helps in study variability or dispersion of the observations from the averages, which means with the given observation, when in the question they have given you a data, the observation, out of these data this dispersion will help you to know what is the versatility, that is what are the differences, least number, highest number. The definition also says the same, and I've written the features. It's just a self-explanatory. You can write down it when I send you the photo. Now we'll quickly get into the methods of studying the variability or dispersion. There are 4 methods under dispersion. First one is range, second is interquartile range and quartile deviation, third is mean deviation, fourth is standard deviation. Now let's start with the first method of dispersion, that is range. They say it refers to the difference between the largest and the smallest of an observation. In simple terms, under range you will be identifying the largest value and the smallest value in the given observation. The formula for that is R stands for range, is equals to L minus S. L is the largest, S is the smallest value. That is what I have given you here in the expansion. Next is coefficient of range. See, whenever in the question they ask you to identify the value of range, it is understood along with the range you should also calculate coefficient of range. The formula for coefficient of range is L minus S divided by L plus S. L is largest value, S is smallest value. So the next heading is range is calculated using the below methods. Again, as we have practiced in the 3rd chapter, under each method we have 3 different methods to solve the problems, that is individual observation method, discrete series and continuous series. So I am starting with the first method, that is calculation of range under individual observation. The question is given like this: find out range and coefficient of range. They've given the data 9, 14, 13, 8, 15, 20, 40, 25, 33, 80 and 60. So it is understood they have given it randomly. So we have to either arrange these data in ascending order or descending order, because we want to identify largest and smallest. This helps only when you array the data in ascending or descending. I have arranged the data in ascending order, starting with the 8 and ending with the 80. So this helps you to identify the range. The formula of range is equals to largest value minus smallest value. In this given data, which is the largest? 80 is the largest, so I have written 80 here, minus smallest is 8, so 80 minus 8, range is equals to 72. Very simple. It will be asked for 2 marks. Next, coefficient of range, because in the question they have asked you range and coefficient of range. So the formula for coefficient of range is L minus S divided by L plus S. So that is L is largest, you have already marked. 80 minus 8 divided by again 80 plus 8, you get 72 divided by 88 is 0.8182. Therefore, you need to give a conclusion. The coefficient of range is 0.8182. See, whenever you are calculating coefficient of range, keep one thing in mind: you always get the values in decimals. So the similar problem I have again written it here. I'll be sending you the photo for the assignment. Now, second method of calculation of range under discrete series. We have done with the individual observation, now it is discrete series. The question is, find out the range and coefficient of range. They've given you X column and F column. F is frequency, S is the class interval. You already know when it is individual observation, they can only give you the data. If it is a discrete series, X column and F column will be there. So the formula remains the same. See, they have only arranged the data and given us. So the largest value is 100 and the smallest value is 10. So L minus S, 100 minus 10 is equals to 90. Second is coefficient of range. 100 minus 10, 100 plus 10, you get 90 divided by 110. Again the answer is 0.8182. Okay, next. The next problem is a similar one. I'll be sending you a photo so that you guys can solve it. One note I've written it here. You should keep in mind whenever you're solving the problems under range, only under discrete and continuous series, you have to consider only the x column. You need not have to consider the frequency, because here the entire formula of range and coefficient of range doesn't deal with frequency. So you have to consider only the x column. You should not consider the f column. That is the note. Now again, next heading is calculation of range under the continuous series. The question is like this: find out range and coefficient of range. They've given you the class interval, they've given you the frequency column. So they have only given you in the arranged format. The smallest value is 10, you need to mark. The largest value is 90, you are marking it. So again with the formula, 90 minus 10 is 80. For coefficient of range, 80 divided by 100, you get 0.8. This is a very simple method which will be usually asked for 2 marks or 6 marks. For today, I think this is enough. I'll be sending you guys the photos of these notes. In case if you get any doubt, you can message me. Thank you.